Hello and welcome back to Talking Giants. My name is Justin Penik, and a quick 4 or 5 day turnaround. New York Football Giants are playing the Washington Football Club tonight, Thursday night at 8:20, 8:30, whenever these Washington games start in Landover, Maryland, FedEx Field. I know it's not called FedEx Field anymore, but I don't know what it's called now, and I grew up with it being called FedEx Field. So, without further ado, let's get to it. 5 keys to victory. Key to victory number 1, explosive plays. I'm not going to go too knee deep into why they're important. I'm going to keep on saying it's key to victory until the Giants actually do it on a consistent basis and it helps them win a football game. But here's the bottom line. Daniel Jones, when throwing over 15 plus air yards last week, only had 1 incompletion. His completion percentage is better when he throws deep compared to the intermediate part of the field, where that's usually not the case with regular quarterbacks. It's usually the opposite. So go figure. We live in this bizarre world where the Giants throwing the ball deep is more efficient and better than throwing it short, which you would think that they would do it more, but they don't. So hopefully let's kind of use our $17 million wide receiver this week. Contested catch situations. Kenny Golladay has been known to be the best contested catch king, contested catch receiver in the NFL. So let's actually use him in that. That's an idea. Key to victory number 2 is Saquon Barkley. The last 2 games that Saquon Barkley has played in Washington and Landover, Maryland. It's like it's his favorite stadium. I don't know what they're putting in the water there. The last 2 games that Saquon has had in Washington has been 170 rushing yards in 2018, 189 rushing yards in 2019, also 90 receiving yards in 2019 as well, and I think 3 touchdowns have been accumulated over those 2 games as well. So, Saquon Barkley, we kind of need you, man. If the Giants offense is going to do this thing where they really want to establish the run on first down, then guess what? We need you, and we need you to show out. Kind of need you really bad. Key to victory number 3, controlling the best defensive line in the game of football with a new offensive line configuration. If you haven't heard, Nick Gates is most likely going to start at left guard, and then I'm presuming that Billy Price is going to be starting at center. The Giants did acquire Billy Price for B.J. Hill during a trade or during the preseason, during training camp. So let's see. Let's see how this works. There's going to be the same right tackle configuration of Nate Solder. Maybe Matt Parrott comes in for a series. Maybe Nate Solder gets benched because he looks really bad against Montez Sweat, which honestly, that's not out of the realm of possibility in my brain. But I'm not concerned about Nick Gates at left guard. I'm actually kind of excited to see what Nick Gates does at left guard. But also, Billy Price has not had a lot of time with his offense, and center is arguably the most important position on the line in terms of getting reps with the guys next to you because you're the captain of the offensive line. You're calling out the protections. You are the play caller of that offensive line. So is 2 weeks of practice and 1 week of practice of being the number 1 starter, is that enough for Billy Price to get acclimated with the system against the best defensive line in the game of football? Jonathan Allen was the star for Washington last week, where he had a couple QB hits, a couple pressures, and a sack. Montez Sweat and Chase Young, they weren't even the main stars. It was Jonathan Allen who was like their best player productivity-wise last week. So let's see. And he's the interior guy. So Billy Price is going to be seeing a lot of Jonathan Allen. So will Nick Gates. Shane Lemieux is out. And they are not going with Ben Bredesen at left guard. I kind of would have preferred that, but they've wanted to see Gates at guard like all summer. That's why when they signed Joe Looney, that was like initially their thought that a guy like Joe Looney or some of these other guys that they were trying to move at center, that they would actually go to center and then Gates would go to guard. That was their initial thought with Shane Lemieux being out. So, we'll see. Key to victory number 4, getting back to your roots on the defensive side of the ball. Patrick Graham's blitz rate was the 4th highest in the National Football League last week with almost 50%. I think it was like 45, 46%. So get back to your roots on the defensive side of the ball. Don't be so aggressive, because even with him blitzing like 45, 46% of the time, guys still had trouble getting home. Azeez Ojulari missed a sack. Leonard Williams missed a sack. I believe Xavier McKinney should have also had a sack. So obviously you have to finish those sacks, but the guys were just wide open. They were running crossing routes. They were running deep, and guys were just wide open. Now, the Broncos skill position players, I think, are much talented than the Washington skill position players, especially with Curtis Samuel out. De'Ami Brown is still getting his sea legs under him, so Adam Humphries is going to be the guy that's going to be running out of the slot with Curtis Samuel out. Terry McLaurin is obviously scary Terry, but I trust James Bradbury to kind of clamp him down a little bit and limit him, at least to whatever capacity limiting Terry McLaurin is. So I trust that matchup, but let's get back to our roots on the defensive side of the ball. Let's get back to our roots. Let's have a solid, clean game where we're not being too aggressive and then we're getting bitten in the ass like we were last week, because Patrick Graham got bit in the ass. Let's get back to our roots with what worked against Washington last year, where defense basically won us those games. And then key to victory number 5, Jabril Peppers and Leonard Williams. Leonard Williams, you are being paid as this team's best defensive player, and I think, you might be getting paid the most money salary-wise this year just in general. Got to play like it, man. Got to play like it. Should have had a sack last week. You did have a couple pressures. You did have a couple QB hits last week, but you got to get home. Let's get home. Let's have a really good game. We need you, bud. You need to act like you're the team's best defensive player. So go out there and act like it. And then Jabril Peppers, he's pissed off. He's pissed off that his snap count was limited last week to almost 50%. So Washington and getting some pass deflections on Logan Thomas last year, that was like Jabril Peppers' best game last year, was against Washington. So go out there and do it. Play with the chip on your shoulder. Be a playmaker. Don't just make the plays that, when you look back at the All-22 tape and say, Jabril Peppers made a good play there. No, I want to see it on the TV broadcast. Go out there and be a playmaker. Get an interception. Get a sack. Send Jabril Peppers on some blitzes here and there. And be a playmaker, dude. I know he's playing with the chip on his shoulder, and he's kind of hurt that week 1 in a contract year. He only got like 50% of the snaps. All right. Win. Win, 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 win. I hate to say that when you're 0-1 and week 2 that it's a must win, but it would really suck to start 0-2 again. I know the NFC East is bad, but let's have these 10 days off where we can celebrate a Giants win heading into playing a bad Atlanta team. We'll see you tomorrow with the podcast. Go Big Blue. Peace.